What's up, guys? How's it going? Today is Sunday into Monday, so technically it's Monday because it's after midnight. And I'm gonna kind of give a quick briefing on what I'm expecting for the week. So, as you guys have noticed, I've been posting a lot about Twitter recently on our Discord. So I am super bullish on Twitter. I feel really good about what's happening right now. Uh, One of the key things to know is that Jack Dorsey, before he decided to step down from chairman of the board, he had this intention of taking the company private, but he couldn't convince the board to go that direction to find a private buyer. So that's a bit of news that dropped this week. And here's Elon, who wants to take the company private with the buyout. So he's raised $46 billion in financing through various lenders, the biggest one being Morgan Stanley. And he has it on paper now. So it was reported that the board was talking with him over the weekend to discuss this buyout further. And in my opinion, I do think that it's eventually going to happen. Probably not out of the weekend, may not happen this week. But I think that they're going to start talking $1 a price. And I don't think 54.20 is going to be the final price. I think that was the initial offer. Because as a buyer, you don't start at the top, you start towards the bottom and you negotiate your way through the transaction. So I see them making a little bit more progress this week. But I see this finalizing by no later than the end of May. So what I would do right now is I would pick up some Twitter calls if it doesn't open too high too early, because I believe that the stock will hit minimum $60 a share. It could go a little bit higher, but 54.20 is not going to be the final sell price. No, they're going to talk their way up more, and I think Elon knows that it's worth a little bit more, and I think he's going to get it for maybe $57 to $60 a share. So my trade idea would be $55 calls right now, no earlier than June 17th. So the June 17th calls are trading at about 2.7 right now, and they'll probably open about the same when the market opens, depending on what the stock price is. If the stock runs up a little bit in the pre-market, which I'm expecting with that news over the weekend, then it'll probably open around 2.7 to 2.9. But if it doesn't, if it opens red, then it'll open a little bit lower because the theta will kick in. So theta is at 0.03 right now, so it'll open probably around 2.6. But that's something to keep an eye on, because if you get a $55 call and the buyout is at $60 and it's announced by the end of May or early June, then the option contract will run to about a 5.0 minimum. It'll probably have a higher premium because IV will kick in at that point from that insane movement. So it's something that I would seriously take a look at. I would prefer July because I like time. But if you want to get a little more aggressive and want to take a chance at a bigger profit, then I would say June 17th. So the Twitter thing is going to keep on going. I really think that it's in the middle of a short squeeze anyway. I think that's why the price is at $49 from 34, 35. And there will probably be some bad news in the next week or two that may send it down a little bit. But ultimately, I really believe that a buyout will happen. It'll attract more bidders as well if the Elon bid doesn't go through, or he doesn't want to budge from his 54.20 target, which I think he will. But if he doesn't, I'm sure you'll get some other bidders that'll swoop in and offer a little bit more, up to $60. So it's worth keeping an eye on. So now that we got past the Twitter part, let's talk about earnings. So this is a huge week for earnings in tech. Huge week in tech. So we start off with the Activision earnings that are going to take place at about 5 a.m. I think it's our time, 5 a.m. our time, maybe a little bit earlier. So as you saw, I posted some Activision calls that I liked because I think that the vote will be approved by shareholders for the $95 per share for the acquisition by Microsoft. But I do think that earnings is going to be horrible. I don't know how much it's going to affect the stock price. I don't think it's going to affect it that much. It will go down for sure. I don't know how much, but if the merger happens, the contract will go up. The stock price will go up to 95, or should go to 95, unless they delay the vote too. So that's another thing to consider. Is that this has happened before? There's always been times where votes have been delayed, and then the stock price gets massively affected. So keep an eye on that. I personally am in this, not too deep. I think I have 5 contracts at about 0.24, I want to say. So if that stock gets to $95 by Thursday, then those contracts will be worth, right now they're worth $24 per contract. They'll be worth about, I think a minimum $1,000 per contract. But I mean, that's again, assuming everything goes right. Vote happens, there's zero delay, and then not only that, but the FTC also approves of the deal. Because the shareholders can approve this deal, and the FTC strikes it down, then it means nothing, and the stock's going to go cratering back down to $60. And these contracts will be worthless, and that's why there's been a lot of uncertainty with the stock price. That's why it's trading at $79 a share, is because there is no general consensus on what's going to happen with this, with the FTC or the shareholders. So keep an eye on that for the coming week. And then we got my favorite one coming up is the Meta one on Wednesday after closing. So ticker symbol FB, formerly known as Facebook. So that earnings call will be Wednesday after the bell. And I believe that will be a call type of play. So if you're looking at playing that, I would do calls, and I would do it before Wednesday. I would do it no later than Tuesday, because you don't want that IV to kick in. So a lot of times in earnings, the IV goes really high, and that affects the premium. So the premium, you'll see the premium skyrocket. And then after the earnings report, IV will go down, and the premium will also go down. And if a big price change doesn't happen, you get screwed because of the IV crush. So keep an eye on that with all of earnings this week. If you want to play an earnings call, don't get in on the same day. Get in before. You have Alphabet coming up. You have Apple. Apple's another big one coming up on Thursday. So keep an eye on Apple. I don't know how I feel about Apple yet. I haven't done enough research on it. Right now, if I had to play it, I would lean towards calls. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would touch Apple right now with this uncertain market. And speaking of the market, man, that was a rough finish last week. Rough. Dow finished almost a negative 1,000 on the final day of the week. And then you had the SPY getting hammered. So the S&P 500 is currently about 4280, 4290, and I anticipate that's going to drop substantially this week. So look for SPY, which runs with the S&P 500, to crater. I mean, I absolutely think it's going to crater this week. I would consider playing 400 puts on the SPY by Friday, because there has been no good news coming out, in that the Fed announcing that they're going to be increasing interest rates by 50 basis points in consecutive months. That is devastating for tech stocks who rely on borrowing. So keep that in mind. This is a tech heavy week in earnings, so it's something that you want to have in the back of your head when you decide to make a call or put on a tech play. I think we have another big one coming up too. So we have Apple. Oh, Microsoft. So yeah, Microsoft coming up with their earnings as well. So Microsoft is going to be interesting because the Activision deal is slated to be voted on Thursday, but Microsoft's earnings, I believe, are on Tuesday or Wednesday. But typically, when a merging company or when a company is bought out, it's the company that buys that smaller company whose stock price is affected the most. So Microsoft's buyout hasn't really been priced into its stock, in my opinion. Just like Activision's buyout hasn't been priced in, obviously, when it's $79 a share, and the buyout price is 95. So you can theoretically see an earnings run up for Microsoft if they beat their earnings or raise guidance, but then you can see it come right back down on Thursday after the Activision vote. So play Microsoft carefully. I personally wouldn't touch it at all with that in mind. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be personally looking at a lot of puts this week because I have zero faith in the market right now. It's bears are fully in control of the market. So right now it's about riding that wave. Don't try to go against it because you can get burned pretty badly. And I do like Tesla. I feel like Tesla has held up very well with the whole bearish market at the end of last week and Tesla holding 1,000. I feel good about it, but it's something that I wouldn't touch because you just don't know with this uncertain market what's going to happen, especially with an earnings heavy week. So keep that in mind. Trade responsibly. I wouldn't full port anything this week. I'm personally going to limit my trades to a cap of $200 maybe per trade, and try not to get burned right now because it is going to be a volatile market. I mean, you can probably see a huge drop off Monday and then a big run up on Tuesday, followed by another big drop off on Wednesday. So I think we're back into that again. So play smart, be responsible, and let's have a great trading week. Good luck, guys. Thank you.